be interviewing one of my mom's friends. Her name is JoLynn Andrews. And JoLynn, would you like to tell us where you work and what you kind of do? Like, what's your average day looking like?
Sure. Well, I am a licensed master social worker, and I work for a nonprofit agency in Arizona. And I do counseling, individual therapy, sometimes group therapy for highly traumatized individuals. So these people have all experienced a physical abuse, a mental abuse, a sexual abuse, emotional abuse, paired with one of the other typical, abuses that would get you in that cycle. So they're very high needs individuals.
Yeah. So like each day you have like your set of like your list of patients that will come in, and then you guys are you talk and discuss like do you guys like make up plans for them and like obviously like come up with coping mechanisms to get through all of that?
Yeah, so the first session is always an intake and assessment, and that usually takes anywhere from 1 to 2 hours. And it's very thorough. We get a lot of their history, a lot of the childhood, a lot of background on their biological history. It's called a biopsychosocial, so it's biology, psychology issues, and then their social situations. Are they living on their own? Do they have a family? Are they in a rehab program? What have you? So that takes about 2 hours. And then between that appointment and the second appointment, I put together a treatment plan. Sometimes my supervisor helps me because they are very complicated and we need to get other agencies involved.
Yeah.
And then from there, I review the treatment plan with my client. And if they feel like, yes, that's good, then we move forward. If they would like to make some adjustments, then we do that. Everything we're doing right now is teletherapy.
Yeah.
We're not able to meet in person, so that presents a few challenges, especially with the kids. I have 5 children that I work with, and some are in group homes, some are wards of the state where they've been taken away from their parents, and so it's a little more difficult because, it's kind of boring to talk about feelings on a phone call.
Yeah.
So, but we do our best, and so I am a trauma therapist. I'm considered a trauma therapist with my background and my degree. So, I do a lot of work with trauma, informed practices, EMDR, brain spotting, CBT, CBT. There's a lot of different modalities. So I really look at the client and put together one of those from there.
What will fit best for them?
How many patients
About how many patients do you see?
Another.
How many patients do you see on a normal day?
I work 2 days a week, and ideally you don't want to see more than about 7 patients because it's a lot. It's very heavy.
Yeah.
But because I only work 2 days a week, I'll see 10 patients with about a 2-hour break in the middle of my day.
Okay. Where did you go to school and what did you study / need for what you do now?
So my undergrad was at UCLA, and I was an undergrad in sociology. And then I went back to school to get my master's in social work. And from there, you have to do lots of internships, and you have to do a lot of unpaid hours, and you have to do a lot of clinical hours with a supervisor. And you are signed off on, and you got to go to the test that the state requires. And as long as you pass that, then you're able to start taking clients. And it's a lot of upkeep. You have a lot of continuing education and a lot of standards that you have to meet. And
I'm sure with like new standards that come up, and you have to like adjust to doing it that way instead of like stuff like that?
Yeah, so for instance, when COVID hit, teletherapy and phone call therapy was really not an approved modality from the state. They really wanted you to see the person in person. They wanted the client to, have a reason to get up and get to the appointment.
Yeah.
But they've really relaxed that now, so we're able to do a lot more sessions on our end.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot better for the client too.
That's good. Yeah, that makes sense. So how long were you in school for, like with all of your interning years and clinical stuff?
A master's degree in social work is a 2-year program if you go full time, and you do your internships within those 2 years. So you do 16 hours a week for 2 years of the internship plus your full-time classes.
Wow.
I went part-time, so I was there for 3 years.
Okay.
Because it was just too hard. It was too much for me.
That's a lot of school.
But other people.
Yeah.
Other people can do it because I had a family at the same time. It was just too stressful for me.
Yep. Gotta tend to the little kids.
Yes. Yep.
So, what is the ballpark salary that a social worker makes?
It really varies depending on what you do within social work. Social work is it's a very big field. You can work in a school setting where you're the school social worker, and in Arizona you're making $35,000 a year.
Okay.
Or you can work for the court system and be an advocate for victims. That's going to be closer to like 70 or 80,000. You could do private practice where you own your own practice and you employ other therapists. Then you're making probably 100 to 200,000 per year. So it's really what you want to do with your degree.
Yeah. So there's a broad spectrum of what you can kind of pick and choose from and work your way up.
Yeah, some people really like being in the schools. They get their summers off, they get vacation time. It's not as heavy or intense.
Yeah.
It's just a very different career goal. Other people are more entrepreneurial and they want to have their own private practice.
Yeah. And
get on insurance boards and employ other therapists underneath them. So that's where the big money's going to come.
Yeah.
If that's your temperament and personality. I like working for nonprofits.
Okay.
I have a heart for I just have a heart for people that have been through severe trauma, and they need somebody there to walk the journey with them.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's where I can be the most effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so awesome. I have to agree with you on that one. I'm quite a sensitive person that is good at. I think I'm a good listener for the most part. But yeah, what is the organization that you're at right now called?
It's called El Paso Cares, but it's not located in Texas.
Okay.
I have no idea why they named the agency that, but
in Arizona.
I know. They think, you must be in Texas. I'm like, no, I don't. It means something about being passionate or passion or something.
Yeah.
But it's a small organization. Most of the therapists go into homes.
Okay.
And when COVID doesn't happen any longer, that's one of the things that we do.
Yeah.
But with COVID, it's all teletherapy, so you can have fewer therapists to see the same number of people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, well, I thank you so much for being willing to do this and talking with me.
Anytime you need anything, I'll be glad to offer my support.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you, Jolynn, for talking. I appreciate it.
Well, good